Hi everyone, it's Sandy, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I read before I joined Booktube. I actually created this channel, Sandy Reads a Lot, back in 2014. So I've been part of the Booktube community for over 6 years now, and that's just wild to think about. And so throughout these 6 years, I've documented all of the books that I've read and my thoughts on them. Obviously, as time goes on, some of my thoughts on the books that I've read have changed, but recently I posted a video talking about my all-time favorite book series, and that really got me thinking and going back to all the books that I read prior to starting Booktube. And so in today's video, those are the books that I wanted to talk about. A majority of the books that I mentioned in my all-time favorite book series video are books that I actually read before I joined Booktube. So if you want to hear me talk a little bit about how I discovered The Hunger Games, Vampire Academy, Divergent, and The Mortal Instruments, aka the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles, and talking about why I love those series, then definitely check out my recent video. I will have it linked below. So in this video, we're going to take a stroll through memory lane and talk about some series that came out many years ago. You are going to notice a pattern in this video of a lot of dystopian books because back in 2011 to 2013, that was like the year of dystopian, and I was just reading so many books within that genre. So the first series that I'm going to talk about is Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. There are 4 books in the series, but I believe one is a spin-off. I haven't read the 4th book, but I did read the first 3. Uglies basically takes place in a world where when you're born, you're deemed as ugly, and when you turn 16, you have the ability to get this procedure done in order to be turned pretty. And so the story centers around our main character Tally, who is about to turn 16. And she soon learns that there's more to the procedure that turns people pretty. I did read the series back in 2012, and I did really enjoy the first 3 books. I think I gave them all like a 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm pretty sure that if I were to read it now, I wouldn't rate it as high. But obviously I am much older now than I was back in 2012. Honestly, I barely remember anything that happens in the series because it has been so long, and I didn't include any review on Goodreads or anything, so I don't really know what to add regarding my thoughts because it's been so long. So another huge throwback series is Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This is definitely another dystopian series, and it basically takes place in a world where love is considered a disease. And so similar to Uglies, when you turn 18 rather than 16, you receive this procedure in order to be cured of love. The story follows our main character Lena, and she's looking forward to getting this procedure done because she saw how the disease of love infected her mother, and so she's determined not to have the same thing happen to her. But one day she meets this boy named Alex, and they fall in love, and the story goes from there. I remember the 2nd book introduced a love interest, which I wasn't a huge fan of, and the ending to the 3rd book was kind of open-ended, and I really wasn't a huge fan of that because it left me with a lot of questions. I don't know about you all, but do you remember that Hulu adapted Delirium into like a mini TV series or something? I think it was canceled before they actually aired. If I remember correctly, they only released 1 episode, and within that 1 episode was essentially the entire Delirium plot. So I remember it being really rushed and not great, and I remember that Emma Roberts played Lena and Greg Sulkin played Julian, who is the 2nd love interest. And I don't remember the actor's name, but it was Ricky from The Secret Life of an American Teenager that played Alex, who is the main love interest. For the most part, I did enjoy the Delirium trilogy. Didn't enjoy the last book as much as the first 2. And I am actually selling all of my Delirium books on Depop, so if you're interested in buying that series or any of the other books that I'm selling, then check out my Depop. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go to half price books within the next week or 2 and get rid of all the books that I'm currently selling, because honestly, I've been trying to sell those books for a really long time and they just haven't sold, so I'm about to give up and just sell them to half price books. Anyways, that was off topic, but another series that I started before joining Booktube was Legend by Marie Lu. So in my all-time favorite book series video, someone commented, "What about Legend?" And I did consider including Legend in that video. Legend is a series that I really loved at the time that I read it, but thinking about it now, I do still like it, but I just don't feel as connected to the story anymore, so I don't really consider it an all-time favorite. But in general, it is a series that I love. It has been such a long time since I've read the entire Legend trilogy, and I have never reread it since I read it back in like 2012. Marie Lu has also come out with Rebel recently. On Goodreads, it's labeled as the 4th book in Legend, but it is more of a companion novel taking place in the future after Champion has ended. I haven't read that yet, and the only reason I haven't read it it yet is because I don't remember anything that happens in Legend. I clearly remember how Champion ended, but at the moment I feel like it's not a good time for me to pick a Rebel without really remembering the backstory to Day and June. So I do eventually hope to read Rebel, but only once I reread the entire Legend trilogy, and if you know me, I'm not a huge rereader. The next trilogy I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to get a little bit heated on it because I really enjoyed it when I first read the entire trilogy, but now that I think about it and the things that happen, I'm just like, oh my god, everything is just so disgusting. It is the Wither trilogy by Lauren De Stefano, and I believe the official trilogy name is called The Chemical Gardens. In this world, males have a lifespan of 25 and females have a lifespan of 20. And so this book follows our main character Rhine or Rin, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she is 16 and she is kidnapped and sold as a polygamous bride to another man. The person that she's forced to marry is named Lyndon, and I don't remember how old he is. I think he was 18 or something. He has already married a couple of other girls, and one of them is like 13 years old. Since it has been so long since I've read the series, I don't remember too much about what happens, but I'm like pretty sure that the 13-year-old gets pregnant and has a baby or something. And honestly, I'm just disgusted by the series now. Definitely made a really great choice in unhauling the series many years ago. Another series that I started before Booktube was The Maze Runner by James Dashner. So with this book, it follows our main character Thomas, who wakes up in this place and has no memories of his past. The only thing that he knows is his name. And so this place that he wakes up in is called the Glade, and within the Glade there is this maze. And the maze is pretty much the only way out of the Glade, but it's very dangerous to go through this maze and a lot of people have died trying. And within the maze are basically only teenagers. There are no adults and no girls as well. I did really enjoy The Maze Runner when I first read the series, but I remember not really enjoying the second and third book as much as the first one. I remember watching the movie when it first came out in theaters, and that was really good. I still haven't seen the second or third movie yet, but I do love Dylan O'Brien. Another series that I read before joining Booktube is Beautiful Creatures by Margaret Stoll and Cami Garcia. This is the first book in the Caster Chronicles, so there are 4 books in the series, and I did read all 4, and I'm pretty sure I gave them all like 4 out of 5 stars back when I read it, but honestly that's like a very generous rating because honestly the series really isn't that great. This story takes place in a small southern town, and one of the main characters, Lena, has powers that she's trying to hide, and then the second main character, Ethan, he is having dreams of Lena or something like that. I read this back in 2013, and that's pretty much all I can gather regarding the plot on Goodreads because I don't remember any of the plot myself. So I checked on Goodreads and I don't have any comments on the first and second book, but I do have some comments on the third and fourth, and my review on the third and fourth book are basically like general comments and reactions to what happened and not necessarily like a review. But it did seem that I enjoyed the series when I first read it. But I'm reading my review on the 4th book, which is called Beautiful Redemption, and I mentioned the characters John and Liv, and I have absolutely no damn clue who these characters are. And apparently a big character dies in the story, and I honestly did not remember that. You would think that you would remember when a character dies, especially when it's like a really important character, but I did not remember that until I opened my review on Goodreads. So if that doesn't tell you how memorable the series is, then I don't know what will. So those are all of the series that I wanted to talk about in this video. I actually had another one that I wanted to talk about, but then I looked on Goodreads and I realized that I actually read it in August of 2014, which is like 8 months after starting Booktube. If you were curious, that series is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. I did really enjoy the trilogy, but it was a series that I began to lose interest in because I read it as the books were coming out rather than all at once. And if I had to recommend any series that I mentioned in this video, that would definitely be Legend. That is the only series that I still have copies of. All of the other books that I mentioned, I did own at one point, but I've unhauled all of those books because A, I don't like them anymore, and B, I just don't see myself ever rereading those books in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. In the comments, please let me know some of the book series or books that you read before you discovered Booktube or joined Booktube. I would love to know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!